The federal election in Canada is officially a go, and it's going to take place. Voting day is September 20th, 2021. Now, that's not a lot of time from now. In fact, according to my calculations, it is just less than a month until the country of Canada goes out there to vote. And that's what I want to do in this video today, is I want to look over the main parties that are running in this election, all the ones that you know and love, and what is their stance on housing. And I also understand that housing and real estate isn't the entire puzzle, but it is a pretty big piece for a lot of Canadians and might be a pretty large factor in who they're going to decide to vote for. And as someone that is in the real estate industry and goes out to parties and meets new people, when I tell them I'm in real estate, people love talking about it. It's such a hot topic issue. Affordable housing, mortgage rates, everything that could be done to make it more fair for the average Canadian to get into housing. Because as we know, over the last 30, 40 years, the average house price has gone up way quicker than income and average salary has gone up. And right now, the average home price has nothing to do, in my mind, with income levels. It's equity redistribution. It's money going from family to family and the rich getting a little bit richer over time. Inflation protection because you own the property, and cheap money. Because mortgage rates are low, that's why housing prices have gone up the way that they have. But enough of me talking, so let's get right into it. I'm going to pull up an article here from CBC. We're going to go over the four main parties and what their views are and what their plan is for Canadian housing in 2021. So let's start with the Liberals. So here's what we know about each of the platforms. Now, the Liberals haven't officially released the platform for 2021. However, they've been in power for a while now, so we have a pretty good idea of what they're up to. The budget that's currently in place included a commitment to $2.5 billion to create 35,000 affordable housing units, $1.5 billion of which is dedicated to the government's Rapid Housing Initiative, which seeks to build a new affordable housing units much faster than there is typically possible. The Liberals also proposed a new tax targeting the underused housing. Okay, so let's talk about the Liberals' plan. So what we've known from the Liberals being in power so far is that in bigger markets, they've already implemented a lot of foreign buyer taxes in Toronto and Vancouver, the first-time home buyer incentive, this affordable housing plan. They've implemented and brought a lot of things out here, but housing prices haven't become more affordable since they've been in power. That's just a reality. And this isn't a political video. I'm just going over the policies, nothing to do with my bias. I'm actually very much not a political person. I try to stay away from it, but I think this is pretty interesting. So based on the history of what we know what the Liberal Party is, they would like to make housing more affordable. They are bringing government programs like the first-time buyer initiative, where they will potentially lend you based on your income 5 to 10% of your down payment, but then they share in the equity plan. I've made videos on that before. I don't necessarily love it. But as of right now, what we know is that the Liberals, $2.5 billion to create 35,000 affordable housing units. And we also have $1.5 billion, which is dedicated to the government's Rapid Housing Initiative. Now let's take a look at what the Conservative government has for their plans for housing in 2021 and onwards. So the Conservative election platform features a plan to build 1 million homes over 3 years, the conversion of at least 15% of federal government property into housing, and the creation of an Indigenous housing strategy. The Conservative government would also ban foreign investors who are not living or moving to Canada from buying a home for at least the next 2 years. So this one is actually a really big one. We currently have foreign buyer taxes in Toronto and Vancouver, but there isn't a whole lot of regulation for the rest of the country. The Conservative government is saying that they will just straight out say you cannot buy a property in Canada if you are not planning on moving here. So foreign money for the next 2 years, you cannot buy a property. And they're also saying that they will revisit this after that 2-year period. Now, this is something that I actually do think would make a difference. Foreign buyers aren't the only reason, I should say, why prices have gone up. But the reality is you have money coming in from other places. It's going to take away opportunity from locals. So I think this is an interesting way to look at it. The party also wants to encourage the offering of 7 to 10 year mortgages and to make tweaks to the stress test and insurance requirements to help people qualify more easily for financing. So the stress test is basically the thing that stops a lot of people from being able to afford the home that they want. Now, the government put it into place to try to protect the consumer from themselves. And basically, without going into a long-winded answer here, if rates went up because of the stress test, a good portion of the population would still totally be fine to pay their mortgage based on what they qualified for. You're being stressed at a much higher rate than you're actually paying on your mortgage. And what the conservatives are saying is they want to tweak it a little bit and change it so that more people can get qualified to buy properties and having mortgage length be a little bit longer in term. Now let's jump to the NDP. Okay, so the NDP's housing platform is centered on a proposal to build 500,000 affordable homes over the next 10 years. The party is also proposing a 20% tax on foreign buyers on the sale of homes to individuals who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents. Okay, I want to talk to you about that one for a second. NDP is proposing a 20% foreign buyer tax. You sell your home to someone that is not currently in Canada or has no plans on moving here. They are a foreign buyer and they pay 20% tax on top of the purchase price. It's not an insignificant amount of money. It adds up. These taxes already currently exist in Toronto and Vancouver and surrounding areas, but they don't for the rest of Canada for a lot of markets. So the NDP is saying Canada-wide, foreign buyer tax 20%. Which is similar to actually what the conservatives were saying, but conservatives were just saying flat out, no foreign buyers. You cannot buy properties in Canada for the next 2 years, and then they will revisit it, where NDP is saying 20% foreign buyer tax, which will discourage a lot of people from bringing their money in and hopefully make housing more affordable. To help buyers get into the market, the party is also proposing the creation of 30-year mortgages insured by the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation. All right, so CMHC will currently not insure mortgages that long, and you can't even get the 30-year amortization unless you're putting over 20% down, which means your mortgage is uninsured. If you put less than 20% down, it will be insured, but you're not going to get that 30-year. You're going to get a 25-year amortization. What the NDP is saying is they want to have more mortgages being 30-year because that's going to decrease the monthly payments. The banks will probably actually like this too because they're still earning more interest over that period of time. But it's making that weight on the amount of month every single month to the person purchasing it and getting the financing being lower. And in turn, it's making it more affordable to get into the marketplace. Now let's jump to the last party in the article here, the Green Party. So the Green Party has not released its 2021 election platform yet, but the party has recently advocated the federal government to redefine affordable housing and use an updated formula. That's actually pretty interesting. I think about that a lot, and as I was actually reading through these other platforms, all of them talk about affordable housing. None of them have defined it. What does affordable housing mean? On a grand scale, obviously, I understand like affordable housing means that the mass population basically should be able to afford it because right now a lot of housing is unaffordable. But figuring out what that formula is for affordable housing would be interesting because I think that would really kind of change the way we think about affordable housing. What that actually means, who gets access to it. I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. The Greens have also proposed a stronger regulation on foreign investments in real estate and the creation of a federal empty home tax that would apply to foreign or corporate property owners who leave units vacant. Okay, so the empty home tax, they're saying for the Green Party that it would be only for foreign investors or corporations that leave properties vacant, but it wouldn't be for local Canadians that leave properties vacant that aren't corporations. So that's a little bit interesting. There is a vacant home tax already in lots of areas of BC, specifically Vancouver, Surrey, BC. I know a few other areas as well. And it's coming to Toronto as well. It has not made housing more affordable. I'll be very clear on that. Even though it's made the government a lot of money in taxes, it has not actually made housing more affordable. So there you go. There are the four main parties. Let me know what you think below. First of all, who do you want to win the election? Why do you want them to win? And is housing as big of a factor for you in who you're going to vote for as maybe it would be for me? Or am I just living in my little bubble of thinking about real estate all the time? Thank you so much for watching. If you want to book an appointment with me to talk about real estate in Toronto, you can go to the link in the description. You can book a seller consultation, a buyer consultation, or just a call with me to chat about real estate. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends if they don't know who they're going to vote for yet. Home is where your story begins, and have an awesome day. Bye.